Well, hello, spirited gourmet fans. This is Nick Martinelli. Some of you may know me, some of you may not, but I work for a company called the Wine Trust, and this month's May selections are all from the Wine Trust. I'm very, very happy to introduce all 12 of these wines for you today. I prepared a little presentation. I'm going to go through each and every one. Hopefully, you've got some of these at home already or can go to the Spirited Gourmet for curbside pickup. All of these wines are on sale the entire month. So let's do a virtual tasting. Apologize ahead of time. I do not have the bottles or the wine glasses with me, but I'm going to give you a rundown on each one. So I'm going to share some screen with you right now. Something we'd never say in the future, huh? Share some screen with you. Anyway, according to the May Wines of the Month and Spirited Gourmet on the website, we've got the Sol Real Vino Verde from Portugal. Vino Verde, a lot of you may have had before. It's this little tiny region in the north of Portugal, just below the Spanish border. Vino Verde can be spritzy, which is the one that you've got right there, hopefully in front of you. The grape varieties are Arinto, Trajadora, and Ruero. They're all native grape varieties. And while Vino Verde does literally mean green wine, it is an area. So they can make white, rosé, red Vino Verde, but the most common one that you probably see is the one that Spirited Gourmet has chosen, which is the white and fizzy kind. This is perfect for, I don't know, what do you call this thing? A patio pounder, a porch chugger. Man, it's just so good. And it's low in alcohol, a little bit of spritz, great with food, great for picnics. So that's the Sol Real Vino Verde from Portugal. The next wine of the month, ooh, we're into Burgundy here. The next wine of the month is called Domaine Fabien Coche from the Merceau appellation. I'll give you a quick tutorial on Burgundy here. We've got Dijon, where your mustard is from. And then this whole area is the Côte d'Or, the golden slope. And you've got the Côte de Nuit, which is saying things in French accents. That's why this thing makes it all worthwhile. And then you have the Côte de Beaune right here. And in this tiny little area, you have Merceau. But the grape variety that Fabien Coche makes this month for you is Aligoté. This is not the typical Chardonnay grape variety. In fact, Aligoté is a very high acid, very crisp and refreshing type of wine. Originally invented, was the base of the wine drink the Kir that the mayor of Dijon invented by taking crème de cassis and blending it with the aligoté to cut out the acidity. On its own, aligoté can be super bright and tart if it's grown in the region of Chablis. In Merceau, Fabien Coche takes his old aligoté plots and plants it. It's next to Chardonnay, so it's actually quite rich. It's really hard to describe. It's like a really good white Burgundy with the richness, but it's got that acidity like you would find from Chablis or even like a Sancerre or Sauvignon Blanc. And you use this with any manner of Burgundian cuisine. I think Spirited Gourmet still sells that Délice de Bourgogne. It's one of my favorite cheeses ever. And see if they have Epoisse too. It's like the stinkiest cheese on earth, but it really works well with high acid white wines like Aligoté. So that's the Fabien Coche. Put me in, Coche. I'm ready to play. You're waiting for a wine pun, weren't you? Anyway, next wine of the month. Next wine of the month is called Tenuta Santi Giacomo e Filippo from Marche. The Marche is this little region here on the Adriatic coast of Italy. Many people know this region for the white grape Verdicchio, and you can see in these two little spots right here are where the Verdicchio grape varieties grow. But our winery, Santi Giacomo, comes from an area called Urbino. And in this area, there are no DOCs or little designated places of origin. The grape variety that this wine uses is called Bianchelo. It's part of the Trebbiano family of wines. It's even mentioned in old Roman texts as being something that the soldiers drank. So it's an ancient grape variety, which you can also still find in Emilia-Romagna and in some parts of Tuscany. The unique thing about Tenuta Santi is that they use the grape variety 100%, and it is just delightful. The winery itself, and you should look it up at the end. You should look up all these wineries, and I'll tell you how to do that at the end of this presentation. Is they are organically certified, organic grapes. They have a sustainable spa and restaurant on site. It's a really wonderful place if you should go to visit when we finally can visit. I can't wait to travel again. Anyway, so that's a Bianchello. Pair this with fish, poultry. It's another great summer weather wine when that stuff is finally coming. Oh, I can't wait for the warmer weather. So, what do we got next? Oh man, do you think I planned this or something? All right. Oh man. Okay. So next on the list is the Botanical Winery from my good friend Ginny Povol. Now, Ginny Povol comes from Framingham, Mass. Originally, which is actually quite funny. And even funnier because over here you can see Worcester, but that's another story. So Ginny moves to South Africa 12 years ago, retires from the tech industry, buys a little plot of land in Stellenbosch right here, and starts planting grape varieties. She wasn't a winemaker when she got there, but she started hanging around people that were, and slowly but surely started making great wine. To this day, she still doesn't even have her own facility, but she does have a beautiful bed and breakfast called Sugarbird Manor, which I highly recommend you check out. Anyway, so the Citrusdal area is a good 2 to 3 hour drive up north from Cape Town and Stellenbosch. Most people know Citrusdal for growing rooibos tea. That's very cool licorice type tea that's decaffeinated. That's where it comes from. But Citrusdal also has very, very old vine, bush vine Chenin Blanc. Chenin Blanc comes from Vouvray in the Loire Valley. Ginny's Chenin Blanc has been called one of South Africa's new icons in the past 10 years by Master of Wine Tim Atkins. The wine is uber rich and dense. It is the most full-bodied white wine of these wines of the month. But just before the wine gets a little too syrupy, it's not sweet by any means, acidity kicks in. And this stuff can drink now, it can drink in 10 years. We've paired this wine with wine dinners with Ginny with scallops and bacon. It can work with spicy food because it's got richness and texture. You're gonna be drinking this stuff for a long time. All right, next wine of the month. Hey, we're back to Burgundy again, but this time we're in one of the favorites of Spirited Gourmet. I know a personal favorite of John. And the Mâconnais is the most southern part of the Burgundian wine region. I'll go back to the other map just to show you where it might be. So if you go south of here and then go all the way down here where the system preferences are, you get to the Mâconnais. And the Mâconnais is where the Chardonnay grape originated near the town of Chardonnay. You may know places like Puy-Fuissé here, but all of these tiny villages are part of the Mâcon. Now, Domaine du Mont Epon, Mâcon Perron, which is one of the wines of the month here, is organic fruit, organic winery certified. It is only the third vintage, the 2018. And what's interesting about this is that Mâcon and Puy-Fuissé generally have oak content. You know, they're not considered like Chablis. This is a different story. This wine, the Domaine du Mont Epon, is right up here. Here's Very-Classé, and there's Perron from Mâcon Perron. Their plot of land is right here on Mont Epon. One side is Perron, one side is Very-Classé, and it's full of clay and limestone soil. There is no oak on this thing whatsoever. It's the most crisp and refreshing Mâcon Village wine you'll ever have, and it's a fraction of the price of a good Chablis. You're definitely going to want this on your table or your lap while you're drinking some good stuff. Wow, that was planned out. Have a sippy straw with this wine. Also, all right, corny joke. You can do this all the time if you want. Hashtag feel like making love. No, wasn't that great? Ugh, I'll be here all night, folks, actually, just for this presentation. Hey, what do we got next? We might even be halfway done here. I wish I could spend a whole 3 hours with you guys at the tasting room. You know, hopefully that'll happen soon when we can open up again. All right, next wine. I'm going to hit two wines, two birds with one stone with this one. The rotation wines from Lodi, California. And if you look right up here, you can see Lodi. It's still Northern California, but it is east of Napa and Sonoma, just below the town of Sacramento. The Lodi Hills were just as popular as a place during the 1849 gold rush, so very, very old place for wine grapes. In fact, you can see Woodbridge right here. Probably you've seen Woodbridge in a million different stores by now. They're also headquartered in Lodi, but Lodi does have some of the oldest continuing planted vines from California. The Chardonnay, which is a May wine of the month, 2018, is very, very cool because it's rich and full-bodied and goes through a little bit of malolactic fermentation, which causes some of the buttery and creaminess in Chardonnay, but it does not have any oak. In fact, it is stainless steel fermented. Actually, I'm going to take that back. It sees 20% neutral barrel. And that neutral is not meant to give an oaky taste, but just more texture. So this is a crisp and refreshing Chardonnay that, you know, in a blind tasting, I'd peg for a Chardonnay at 3 times the price from other parts of California. So for this little sale price, it is insanely good. And then later on, down the lines of the month, you've got the Cabernet Sauvignon. This is great. This is fruit driven. You don't need food with it. It's certainly not sweet, but it's not going to dry you out. It's not going to rip the enamel off your teeth, which I can certainly recommend wines that'll do that. But that is a great barbecue wine. It'll be perfect with burgers, pretty much anything. So rotation Chard and Cabernet from Lodi. Actually, the rotation cellars come from a 100-year-old family farm, and I really like working with these wines. They're always great for parties. One of my favorite kind of places. Okay, now we're going to get into, this is crazy. There are so many Syrahs and Syrah type blends in this selection. Thank you, John, for making it all about the Syrah. This wine we're going to discuss now is Domaine Picmal. The winemaker is Jean-Marie Picmal, who was voted Le Guide Hachette Winemaker of the Year in 2018. She and her family own a plot of land right here in the Côte du Roussillon. The French accent, is it doing it for you yet? Her family grows Grenache, Syrah, Carignan for red, and for whites, they actually grow quite a bit of Muscat and Mozac, but we're focusing on the red. So the Picmal 2017, that's a wine of the month, is about 50% Syrah, 30 Grenache, and about 20% 70-year-old vine Carignan. And the Syrah will be bringing the pepper and the dark fruit. The Grenache brings the juiciness and the alcohol, and the Carignan brings the structure and acidity. It's a super amazing wine. My company, the Wine Trust, does not officially have a Côte du Rhône just yet, but the fact that we have this Côte du Roussillon, I'm fine. I don't have to have a Côte du Rhône just yet. This is just one of the best values you can have from southern France. I highly recommend you pick some of this up. Next, we are going to go to the Rhône Valley. And this is a cool place too, because the Southern Rhône here is what most people are familiar with. There's your Côte du Rhône village, there's Nîmes, you know, denim jeans come from Denim. I swear that's a thing. Châteauneuf-du-Pape, Gigondas, Rasto for my Rastafarians. Oh, it doesn't get old. It doesn't get old. Anyway, the Northern Rhône is where the next wine of the month comes from. They are called Domaine Belle. Come on, for whom the bell tolls. All right, I'm sorry. Domaine Belle Crozes Hermitage. Now, Crozes Hermitage is an outlier from Hermitage, an even smaller area around the town of Tournon. This is the birthplace of the Syrah grape. It is the same cuttings that went to Australia when the colonies, I shouldn't say penal colonies, were being set up. Syrah came to Chile. Syrah came to Sicily. Syrah went around the world. several hundred years ago. But this is the place if you want to smell and taste Syrah. This is what I'm going to mention is if you're going to taste it in a setting or an education class, this is where it comes from. So Croz Hermitage makes beautiful, elegant Syrah. Still has some guts to it. It certainly still has a medium-bodied, rich character to it. There's a little bit of French oak here for the Domaine Belle. They grow organically, and they grow grapes organically too. And this is great. This is a super steak wine. If you think that only Cabernet Sauvignons have to go with steak, think again. The Croz Hermitage from Domaine Belle is a major steak wine. Oh, fun fact. If you're wondering about these little areas up here, Côte-Rôtie, that's another Syrah-based area, but Condrieu is a little bit of Viognier. Condrieux are hard to find. Ask John. Anyway, but Domaine Belle, Croz Hermitage, amazing. Let's see. For the next map, for the next wine of the month, we're still going to be hanging around the Rhone Valley. We are going to bring it out a little bit. The wine is called Julien Session. It's Syrah Collet Gravier. And this is by a gentleman named Julien Session and his American wife, Nancy Kirschner, or Kirschner. Oh God, Nancy, I'm so sorry. I should probably check my notes. Anyway, they're on our Wine Trust Talks, which I'll mention at the end of this presentation. So right up here, if we go back to the Croz Hermitage, that's where Tournon is. That's where we are here. So we have the Northern Rhone right here. We have, White Album reference by George Harrison. Montélimar, there it is, it's right there. And then you go down to Châteauneuf in the Pop and the Southern Rhone. So you got north, you got south, and then over here you've got the Ardèche. So Ardèche is sort of like saying how, like if you've got like Napa Valley, pretend this is all of Napa, and then you have like different small regions here, like that's Rutherford, and this is Napa County. So it's basically a gigantic area. So the Ardèche County, you've got the Drôme area, and that's where Julien Session and his wife sourced their Syrah from. Now this is a much different style than Domaine Belle Croz Hermitage. This is super fresh. They're sourced from vineyards in the Ardèche, the Drôme, and in their little estate around the vineyards of Tournon. Stainless steel, only sees oak for a tiny bit, maybe 6 months, and native yeast fermentation. They have a more natural style of winemaking. This stuff is uber peppery, uber bright. It's really rocking. Have it with spicy food too. It's not the heaviest Syrah, but man, it's so different. I'm so glad. There's like almost 4 Syrahs in these wines a month. It's really fun to compare all of these. But definitely check out that Session right there. Okay, we are going to move on. We're almost done. Wow, we're on the last one. All right, you're going to come to Barossa Valley with me for Hentley Farm Villain and Vixen Shiraz. Again, I wish I had the labels here for you folks, because the Villain and Vixen Shiraz has a fun little reverse face kind of label. You turn it one way or the other, and it looks like a different woman or man. It's fun. But anyway, Australia, this is just south central Australia. There are so many different wine regions. If any of you who know me, when I used to be at the store, I was an Australian fanatic. This is just one such area, and Barossa Valley is the region that made Australia famous, at least in the eyes of the American market. Barossa is known for Shiraz. I mentioned it earlier about how the French, or the Australians, came to Barossa Valley and other parts of Australia and planted Syrah cuttings. The Villain and Vixen Shiraz is made by a gentleman called Mr. Henschke. This family came to the Barossa Valley in the 1850s, one of the and predominantly German settlements. This Syrah from this property is very much in that fruit-forward, rich fruit style you come to expect from Australia. However, it does have a sense of clarity and acidic lift not commonly found in Australia. He's very much a French and European style winemaker. So even this big burly Shiraz has got quite the balance going for it. Yeah, you can go chocolate with this thing, I guess. But a nice burger. I'm thinking like a burger stuffed with like truffles and then Swiss cheese put over it or something and some barbecue sauce. I'm like killing myself here anyway. I'm making myself hungry. So, Spirited Gourmet, folks. That is the Wines of the Month selection for May for the Spirited Gourmet. I'll run them down again so you can ask for them, but you can definitely get them on the website or curbside. That's the Sol Real Vino Verde from Portugal, the Fabien Coche Bourgogne Aligoté from Burgundy, the Tenuta Santi Giacomo e Filippo, Foliara Bianco, that's the Bianchello, the Botanica, Chenin Blanc from Ginny. Oh my God, I forgot Ginny's Cabernet Franc. Oh my God, what did I do? What did I do? Let me go back to that. I don't want to. How did I forget that one? All right, here we go. I hope she's not mad at me. Wow. Okay. Where's that map? There it is. How did I forget that? Okay, so I told you about Ginny Chenin Blanc over here. We're just going to go back down to Stellenbosch, where her actual farm is. It's got protea, national flowers everywhere. That's her thing. She's a flower girl, a self-professed flower girl. Stellenbosch is where her Bordeaux varieties are planted. So she plants Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, Petit Verdot, and Merlot. The only Bordeaux variety she does not plant and grow is Malbec. The Cabernet Franc does have textbook aromatics of green bell pepper, and it's a medium-bodied wine, a little bit of smoke from that Stellenbosch soil there. She grows everything organically, even her flowers. It's native yeast fermentation. She only makes 150 cases of this Cabernet Franc. It is so hard to get, but Spirited Gourmet has been super, super supportive of Ginny's wines since the beginning. So grab these wines here. Sorry, Ginny. Sorry, guys. Sorry, you Spirited Gourmet fans. Okay. So yeah, rotation wines, Cabernet, Chardonnay, Domaine du Montépon from Burgundy with a French accent, Domaine Picmat Côte-Roussillon, Domaine Belle, troisième étage, Julien Cessillon Syrah. Why are there so many French wines this month? I'm not really complaining. I love it. Okay, so Wines of the Month, Spirited Gourmet. Please visit Spirited Gourmet's website to find all this good stuff. Please visit thewinetrust.com for our winemaker wine trust talks. In fact, several of the winemakers that make the wines for the month of May have interviews that we did over the past couple of months, and they're really, really good in-depth presentations direct from the source. So that's a good place to find it. You can find the Wine Trust on Instagram, Wine Trust USA, and you can find me, Nick Martinelli, on Instagram at Tatzalange, Tazzellenghe, Tatzalange. Anyway, happy Wines of the Month for May from the Spirited Gourmet and the Wine Trust. See you guys soon.